What goes in Beijing does not go in the rest of the country. What goes in Shanghai doesn't go in the rest of China. I got a comment the other day from someone who just started watching my videos, and they were basically saying, what are you talking about? You know, you say that you can't get big motorcycles like Harley Davidsons and stuff, but in Beijing there's a Harley Davidson club. It's like there are, you know, Mustang clubs, there's, you know, video game stores, all this kind of thing. Because, you know, a lot of my videos talk about some of the deficiencies in China as a foreigner, things that you will miss. Thing is, there are a lot of things that you can do in Beijing that you just can't do in other cities. Think of Shanghai and Beijing as if they are the San Francisco Chinatown. You know, you can go to San Francisco Chinatown, and if you're Chinese, you'll think, wow, this is great. I mean, it's America, but take a look. I can get everything that I normally get back home. I've got my open air markets. I can buy the same vegetables as I can buy in China. I can get the same sauces and amenities that I can get in China. It's all here. Look, there's lots of Chinese people around me. You feel at home. And that's exactly the same as when you go to Shanghai or Beijing. You can get all the amenities around you. You see lots of foreigners around you. You see the same kind of brands. You kind of feel like you're at home. But leave San Francisco Chinatown and go to the middle of Texas or go to Alabama or something. It's not the same. You're not going to be able to buy the same vegetables. You're not going to be able to see the same brands. You're not going to be able to see the same kind of people. You're not going to see a whole lot of Chinese walking around in public in certain parts of America. But what I'm trying to say is that what you do in one state in America, or even in the UK, what you do in one state usually, or one area or province, you can do all over. Most Western countries are like this. However, in China, only Shanghai and Beijing, these two big cities, will allow you to buy big bikes, you know, will allow certain things. As soon as you go out of those two big sort of international cities, you can't. I can't ride a motorcycle in Shenzhen. Yeah, there's a good example. There's a Harley right there. Sportster on the side of the road, you know, and here we got our tourist attraction, which is nice. But my point is that just because you can do something in Beijing doesn't mean that it can be done in the rest of the country. And this is why I'm making this video. It's not to try and say that Shanghai or Beijing are worse or better or not real or real. It's the fact that if you see Beijing and you see Shanghai, you're not seeing what the majority of China's like. People's first impression of China usually is Beijing or Shanghai, because, you know, those are the two most famous cities. And this place is just chock full of tourists. You know, you see tourists everywhere taking rickshaw tours, walking through the hutongs. And so the city is very well set up for foreigners because there's so many foreigners here. So, you know, you'll get a lot of foreign brands. The convenience, sorry. Yeah. So you'll get a lot of foreign brands. The convenience stores are actually packed with lots of cool things that you won't find in other convenience stores around the country. For instance, you know, I walked into the 7-Eleven here and they've got a lot of cool Japanese beers and stuff. But if I go to a 7-Eleven in Chongqing or Chengdu or Shenzhen or Guangzhou, I'm not going to find the same stuff. It's just definitely more catering to foreigners here. And a lot of the bars, the whole bar scene here, there's a thriving underground live house scene, all that kind of stuff. It's big in Beijing, but it's not big anywhere else in the country, I can tell you that, because I've traveled around the whole of China. You know, I live in the south, but I travel everywhere. And I can appreciate it. I'm not trying to say it's a bad thing, I think it's amazing. It's one of the best, in fact, the best thing about Beijing. Hello.
Hello.
How are you? Good, that's nice to hear. Yeah, nice to see you. Yeah. That's one of the things I absolutely love about Beijing, is the fact that you've got this very diverse culture when it comes to the bars. And you've got, you know, like I said, look at these guys. Yeah, I mean, we've got basically Harleys and you've got all these kind of things. And funny tourists.
Welcome to China.
Thank you. Welcome to another video. Awesome. Anyway, yeah, so it's one of the things I absolutely love about Beijing. But unfortunately, for most foreigners, this is their first impression of China. So they come to Beijing or Shanghai, they have tours, they go on these rickshaws, or tours through the hutongs. They see, oh look, we've got lots of international brands here, we've got lots of things that are available in the shop. You know, like walk into the 7-Eleven and bam, you've got a huge selection. But if you go into a 7-Eleven anywhere else in the country, except for Shanghai, of course, you don't. And that's because of the huge influx of foreigners here. There's a market for these kind of things. All the tourists that come through here, it is an international city after all. But this is where people get it wrong. You will not find the same amenities elsewhere in China. You know, that's basically what I'm getting at here. It's kind of like a foreign town, two foreign towns in China. I mean, Shanghai's always been an international hub, and Beijing is the capital, and everything international happens there. So there's a lot of international trade and things happening around there. So it is very much like a Chinatown, but overseas. So as soon as you leave these two foreign towns, as I've called them, you're not going to find your craft beers, you're not going to find your special things in the 7-Eleven, all your, you know, vast variety of Western brands. You're not going to be able to buy yourself a Harley or even ride motorcycles in most cities because they ban them. And you know, you're not going to be able to speak English anywhere. You're not going to see foreigners anywhere, maybe very occasionally. So there's a reason why so many foreigners live in Beijing, and that's because it caters to foreigners. And if you're a foreigner, you'd be smart if you wanted to live a little bit more of a foreign lifestyle. You know, the sort of clubbing and the bars and the food and the products you can buy. Beijing's definitely easy mode. It's like level 1 of China. So just remember, what goes in Beijing does not go for the rest of China. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I absolutely appreciate every single one of you guys. Cannot wait to see you in the next video. And until next time, you know the drill. Stay awesome. So I thought I'd send you guys out of the video by showing you a couple of the interesting things I shot while I was up in Beijing. Here we have a girl basically getting ready to take a selfie. And you know, in the West this kind of thing might seem odd and very narcissistic and weird for somebody to stand on the street for so long getting their hair and stuff ready to take a photo of themselves. But to be honest, it's incredibly normal in China. I see it very often. I just happened to spot this girl doing this here in this very public touristy area, so I thought I'd just film it to give you guys a glimpse, you know, as to what goes on with this kind of thing, because it's normal in China. And if you're a tourist or someone who's just visiting, you might find it bizarre, but yeah, that's the way it is. And here we see a couple taking their wedding photos. Now, I've had to go through this myself. It is terrible. You basically spend 2 or 3 days being taken around to various spots where, you know, you'll get your photos taken, you have to pose, and, you know, it's pretty awful. Like, these guys are pretending to laugh. That's the direction they were being given. Anyway, like, if you do go to Beijing, it is a very well decked out place for tourists. There's lots of scams you have to watch out for, but you know, they've got all sorts of little interesting places, just like over here. I'll put a Google Maps link down below, and you can go there and take a boat on the river, or take the rickshaws, which are all lined up and they go around. If you take a rickshaw from one of these areas where you see a big line of them, they're usually not a scam. It's usually if someone runs up to you and approaches you at like Tiananmen Square or something and offer you a ride on a rickshaw. Those are the scams. But if you're in a tourist area like this with a whole train of them and you see lots of other people getting on rickshaws, you're usually okay. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you
as always, for your support and for watching. And you know, once again, this whole SerpentZA thing wouldn't exist without you guys and your support. So thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one.